know that you came to the U.S. in 1996, which we're going to kind of touch on that as well. But during that time period, like, what was it like? Because myself, being from America, I didn't have that particular type of experience. So I just want to get a little bit more insight. What was your daily routine? Since okay, the genocide happened, there's a lot of oppression going on and stuff like that. So what was on you all's minds? I could imagine why you were like drawing tanks and stuff like that when somebody else was maybe trying to draw an action figure or sports themed kind of illustration or something like that. So like outside, kind of paint a picture for me on like I know that you drove the tanks. So what did you actually see?
Yeah. I mean, just imagine, Joe, after my dad was killed, I mean, we were left without a father, without, a hero, without someone to guide you. Uh, Even during that time, we were on the run. Uh, Saddam Hussein, basically, his regime took over the villages and the cities, and he wanted to. The whole agenda was to do the ethnic cleansing of Kurds. So we had to run away. We didn't even get a chance to see my dad's body. Not only us, but many other families didn't even get a chance to grieve, with their loved ones. We didn't even get that chance. So imagine, at that age, running away from villages to different villages and seeking refuge in a different area where where you have to depending on others to come help you, basically give you food and water. So we stayed in the camps for at least a year in a different city. Actually, not even a city, a village in the middle of nowhere, basically in a desert, depending on people to come and help you and give you some food and water. So after a year, we got back. We went back to home in the city of Zalko, the Hook province. Uh, Still grieving, not knowing what to do. We had just lost my dad, and but basically, there's not much I can remember except, and then 3 years later, in 1991, in 1990, once again, Saddam Hussein came in the cities and he wanted to do the ethnic cleansing. So again, we had to run away. And this time, I would say thousands of families ran away to mountains, mount where basically just to seek somewhere where you can be safe because Saddam Hussein was again he wanted to wipe out all the Kurds. So like I said, thousands of families were seeking refuge basically to nowhere, and majority landed in Turkey camps. Luckily, Turkey opened their borders, let let us in. But some people even didn't get that chance to go into those camps. My family and along with many other families ran into mountains, stayed there for months, basically just to protect themselves. So my childhood basically it was that up until 1993 and then 94 up until 1996, and that's when U.S. military had their military bases in that region. So from 93 to 96, my brother was interpreter with the U.S. military, and luckily that's how we ended up here.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And when you think of the mountains, like, what do you mean, like, kind of move to the mountains? I know there weren't any particular log cabins or anything like that you all were running to. So, kind
Right.
of, can you kind of? This is like my last question in regards to this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you kind of just touch on like the type of you say running to the mountains? Kind of explain that.
There's still a saying until this day: Kurds have no friends but the mountains. So there's a big meaning to that. During that time when we had to leave our home, uh, we went to mountains. Basically, like you said, there's no shelters, there's no cabins, there's no tents, there's no such thing in mountains. So basically, you just had to for those who had a lot of kids, or elders with them. Basically, just j- the whole point was just to get out the cities, get out of the city, go to mountains where the airplanes don't see you. That was basically the whole point.
For sure.
Yeah.
No, it definitely makes sense. I definitely got a vivid picture in my head. Quite an experience for sure. Now, you kind of painted the picture of civil unrest, and I know like in 1923, that's when kind of was Kurdistan was kind of split up. Is that right?
Yeah. Right now, Kurds is the largest ethnicity, are the only largest nation without state of their own. Well over 50 million Kurds exist in this world without state of their own, meaning they didn't have an official country. In 1923, in favor this treaty in favor of Turkey, the Western countries divided Kurds into four different countries. We have 30 million plus Kurds alone live in Turkey, and then we have 6 to 8 million in Iraq, where I came from, and then of course in Iran and Syria. So Kurds were divided into those four countries, basically. Uh, Before that, from 1920 up until 1923, Kurds did have. We were once a country, but it didn't last long because we didn't have the international community. So that's been the story of Kurds. Kurds in Turkey before they were not allowed to even speak their mother tongue, and Kurds in Iraq, as I mentioned earlier, Saddam Hussein, the regime of that time, declared and basically committed an unhumane genocide against Kurds. So that has been the story of Kurds. But right now we are closer than ever to gain independence. Again, that's gonna take a lot of support from international community. That's a different subject we can basically touch on later on.